In this video, we're talking about the 6 key performance indicators that you need to know if you want to increase your business this year. So number 1 is conversations. A lot of this is going to talk about prospecting. A lot of the times what I see is that agents don't actually track, first and foremost, don't actually track anything. Like, let's just start there. They don't really track anything. And if they are tracking, they're tracking the wrong type of information, wrong data, wrong metrics. So first one is conversations. How many conversations a day, a week, a month, a year, or per quarter are you having? If you're not actively tracking your data, I want you to start just focusing on the conversations. And yes, you can simply have a pad just like this, right in front of you, and every single time you have a conversation, you're just gonna put down a little tick mark, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whatever you counted up, okay? And then at the end of your session, after the end of your day, you're then going to put into an Excel spreadsheet. This way you can actually track over time how many conversations you're having. And the reason why I actually don't say calls first is because I feel like a lot of realtors focus on how many calls they made. Well, I made 60 calls today. Well, I made 600 calls today. And then they only had like 10 conversations. If you only have 10 conversations a day, you're only going to have a 10 conversation a year income. What that truly means, if you have 50 conversations with professional partners for a referral type business, you'll probably do somewhere between around 40 to 50 transactions a year, okay? You probably do almost a 1-for-1. If you have 50 conversations a day with professional partners, you probably have a pretty successful business. You're probably going to do 50 transactions at minimum a year, okay? 1-for-1 per day. Okay? However, if they are cold calls, and I am, by the way, saying full-on conversations, not just like, hey, it's Henry with EXP Realty, and then they go, who is this? And you say, it's Henry, and then they hang up on you. That's not a conversation, okay? I mean like a full-blown conversation, you know, to the point where like you actually got something out of it. You know, whether they're gonna be a good lead, how are they doing, what's going on, like a full-blown conversation, okay? A couple minutes. If you have 50 conversations a day when it comes to professional partners, about 1-for-1. If you're doing it in the cold calling world, which my team and I do a lot of, you're probably going to be at somewhere around 20%, somewhere around 15 to 20% in conversion. So if you're having 50 conversations a day, you're probably going to be doing 10 transactions a year based on that. So 50 conversations a day, 10 transactions per year. Now again, I want you to understand, these are rough averages. This is not exact, but I am trying to say that if you're just cold calling circle prospecting leads and you're having 50 conversations a day of circle prospecting leads, you're probably gonna do at least 10 to 20 transactions a year. That's gonna be the minimum. You're gonna be at a minimum probably around 10, or around a 20% ratio. First thing is conversations, track it every day on a pad, and then you can just throw it into an Excel spreadsheet. And guess what? Your conversations are then going to lead to what? Leads. Yep, number 2 is leads. Every single day, you're going to be tracking how many leads you are generating. Now, I want to be very clear. What I often see a lot of real estate agents do is that they have somebody that they speak to, I'm just taking circle prospecting as an example, and they're calling, and then they get, you know, they're having a conversation with somebody, great conversation. They're like, yeah, look, I am considering, I'm thinking about selling, but my kids are in school, and I'm probably not going to sell till sometime after they're out of high school, and they're going to be out of high school in 2 years. And they're like, oh, awesome, got a great lead. 2 years from now, okay, that's not exactly a lead for today. Take into consideration of the fact that if you're really getting somebody who's beyond 12 months from selling from today, really not a lead that you should be categorizing as a lead for today. Now, don't get me wrong, save their information. Be a little conservative, err on the side of caution in the sense where that lead is really not going to count for today. I don't really count a lead unless it's like within 6 months or even 90 days, because that's really a lead. And I'm going to keep going until I have call it 2 or 3 or 5 hot leads today. Not that are selling today, but that are going to sell within the next 90 days to 6 months, and they're really serious about it. Because again, you're going to want to try to find the motivation. So if you're really getting 3 leads a day, 4 or 5 leads a day, probably going to question you to begin with and say, what are you really categorizing as a lead? But again, if you're really categorizing it seriously as a lead and you're getting 3 to 5 leads a day, you're probably going to be doing pretty damn well. Now, be very cautious. If you're only getting 1 lead a day, if they're a referral, you're probably going to still do pretty well because you're going to convert at a pretty high ratio. However, if they're cold call leads, probably again not going to convert at the highest ratio. Because again, what is a lead supposed to lead to? The next one, which is an appointment. Yes, appointment set. So what's going to happen is that you're going to have an appointment set, and out of these appointments set, it's going to then drive a few other KPIs. But the first part of it is you're having conversations, which leads to getting leads, which then that leads to setting an appointment, because the only purpose of a conversation is to set an appointment. So when you set these appointments, just know you're also not going to then conduct 100% of the appointments that you set. The reason why I say setting appointments is a great KPI to track is because you really want to know based on how many conversations will generate how many leads, which will generate how how many appointments, which will then generate dollars at the very end, which there's a few other KPIs here, but you're not going to conduct 100% of your appointments. So if you set 3 appointments a week, you're probably not going to then conduct 3 appointments a week. And then you want to know why, because this happens in every business. Why are they canceling? Did you somehow set an appointment with somebody who's really not looking to sell it? And then you're going to see, based on the amount of appointments that you actually conducted, which is the next KPI, KPI number 4 is appointments conducted. You have appointments set, and then you have appointments conducted, both very, very important. You know, a lot of people say this to me. Well, I'm setting a lot of appointments. Okay, well, how many deals are you closing? Sounds like then you should be closing a lot of deals. Well, I close 1 deal a month. But what do you mean you're setting a lot of appointments? Because I don't believe you. Because that means they're canceling or they're terrible appointments. The next key performance indicator is contracts written. And what's important is to see the actual the amount of appointments set versus how many contracts are written. Because that means there's going to be a difference of how many appointments that you've actually conducted and then you've actually signed a contract at. Specifically, guys, we're talking really here about listing appointments. Let's just say you had 50 conversations a day, okay? 250 conversations a week if you worked 5 days a week. On average, you get 2 leads a day, 2 really warm leads a day. 2 warm leads a day means 10 leads per week. Of the 10 leads you get per week, let's just say that you got 2 appointments a week. That means, you know, that's a 20% ratio both times. You have 50 conversations a day, 250, now you're getting 10 leads out of the 50, right? So two each. Then you get those 2 appointments set, and then you might not be conducting both of those appointments, but let's just say that you do. Probably also then not going to sign both of those contracts. So you'll probably, let's just say you get one per week. In this market, you might sell all of the houses that you list, but you might not sell all the houses that you list. So on average, let's just say you close 3 of those houses. That's how you can see the conversion ratios. Because then what ends up happening is the last key metric is dollars earned. So if each house you earn $10,000, that means each contract is worth 10 grand. And then that means you earned $30,000 this month. And you can track those 6 key performance indicators, which will allow you to track your business. The highest performing realtors track data. The reason why you track this data is that you can actually see where you are in your year within 2-3 weeks. Are you on track or off track of your goal? If your goal is to earn $100,000 this year and you're 3 months in, and based on your data, you've only earned $18,000, yeah, you're a smidge behind. You're just a smidge behind. If you're 6 months in and you only earned $30,000 and your goal is 100 grand and you're 50% the way through, you're a smidge behind. And you have to shift. The cool part about seeing the data is going, okay, well, on average, I've been averaging every month, I'm making this up, this is not me, I'm saying on average, I'm having 11 conversations a day. And then 11 conversations a day leads to 3 leads a week. And then I'm only setting 2 appointments a month. And those 2 appointments, I'm only signing 1 contract and then closing 1 deal. Okay, well, this is giving you a good idea that you should probably start enhancing the amount of conversations that you're making. Also, if you're only setting up 1 appointment per month, there's some tweaks that you have to be making, which means you should probably practice your scripts more so you can have a higher conversion ratio. Also, if you're not getting a lot of leads based on the amount of conversations you're having, what type of lead are you calling? So in order to get the most contracts written, are you practicing your listing presentations? Are you confirming over the phone prior to the appointment that they're actually going to be ready to sign an agreement today? Because again, if you're going on an appointment, because I've seen this so many times. I've done it 100 times in my career. That's why I can see it so easily with other people. Early in my career, what would happen is that there'd be somebody who I would be speaking with on the phone, and they're like, yeah, you know, we could definitely consider an offer. Okay, great. Well, what works better for you? Let me stop by and see if something, you know, might make sense. And I set the appointment. I'm like, oh my God, yes, I set the appointment. It's so awesome. And then I get to the appointment, and they're like, well, I'm actually not really looking to sell it. I thought you said that you had somebody who was interested, and, you know, we're actually not really looking to sell the house unless we can get our, you know, a great number, but we really actually couldn't even sell the house now anyways because our kids are still in school and want to leave them in school until next year. And you're like, help me! Here. Like, you set an appointment with somebody that it doesn't even make sense for you to set an appointment with. This is why I'm saying it's so important to confirm and ask the questions before you even go to the appointment. To the point where I'll do this, I'm not going to say abrupt, but I'll be very blunt and transparent. So much so that, like, I'll try to talk them out of the appointment. I'm trying to make sure that you understand, I'm coming over to the property today to list your home, or talk about listing your home. I just want to make sure that we're both on the same page, that selling your home is still part of the game plan this month. Yeah, of course. Okay, great. I want to make sure, like, I'm not going over your house and you think that, like, I'm the buyer. How many times it's happened? If you're not very clear and concise, you don't know what's being misconstrued. You don't understand what they're saying, what they're hearing. So again, reconfirm before you go on the appointment, and practice your listing presentations, and especially practice your closes. My favorite close at the listing presentation: would you like me to take photos this Friday or this weekend? Would you like me to take photos tomorrow or next Monday? Whenever. Just say 2 dates. It's a choice close. It's a very simple close, and it works 95% of the time. It's a fantastic close. That's how you're going to improve your contract signed. And last but not least, track your dollars. Track how much money you're making. Because what ends up happening is that a lot of times is that real estate agents don't track anything at all, ever. And then they're like, how much money did I make this year? What do you mean I have taxes to pay? If you don't track your income, which by the way, I would suggest that you open up an LLC if you're making anything more than 100 grand a year, number one. I'm not an accountant, and again, please, I'm not trying to solicit anything here, but I'm just saying, open up an LLC probably sooner than you think would be a recommendation I'd make. Again, call your accountant, your attorney, whatever. Second is get QuickBooks and then sync QuickBooks with your account that you're getting all of the deposits of your commission checks into. And then you can actually look at QuickBooks and then make sure you spend all of the money on either a credit card or out of that one account. So you can literally just quickly see how much money is going in and then how much is going out. Well, I made this much money, and then you can track how much money is going out, and then you're gonna have a net income, because gross income is really cool, except it doesn't really mean that much if your net is like 10% because you're spending all your money. So again, you're going to track how much money comes in, you're going to track how much money goes out. You can download QuickBooks. Again, we can put a link in the description down below. Just go to quickbooks.com. I don't have an affiliate code. I'm just trying to help you. Track in all your money, all your income, the money that's going out. You're going to see a net income. The goal is to get your net income as high as possible and have as much money in the bank as possible so that you can buy as much real estate as possible so you become as rich as possible. So again, hope this video helps, guys. And again, listen, if this video was incredibly valuable and you would like to hire me as your coach, make sure you click the link in the description down below. My guarantee for you is the following. I'm going to help you earn your next $100,000 or your first $100,000 within the first 6 months of coaching, or I will coach you for the rest of time until you hit it, no matter what, no questions asked, no extra money needed. So again, if you want to hire me as your coach, make sure you click the link in the description down below. Other than that, guys, I'm so excited to see what you create in the months to come, and I love you so much, and I will see you in the next video. Take care.